Jesus with the wolf at peace. The forest was alive with whispers of eternity. Twilight hung heavy over the horizon, painting the sky in deep shades of violet. The heavens stretched wide, not in silence, but in a hushed song, as though every star was waiting for a revelation. Among the ancient trees, shadows lay thick upon the earth, yet within the darkness shimmered a light that did not belong to this world. Jesus walked slowly through the forest, his steps unhurried, each one falling with grace upon the soil. His robe flowed lightly behind him, untouched by thorn or dust, radiant in white, yet infused with streaks of purple light. Around him, the atmosphere shifted. The wind stilled, the leaves bent low, and creatures peered quietly from their hiding places. His presence did not startle them. Rather, it drew them nearer, for his very being carried peace. The light that surrounded him was violet, rich and warm, like a river of living flame. It did not shine harshly, but moved like a breath, weaving through the trees, dancing upon the leaves, washing the ground in luminous hues. Wherever it touched, the earth seemed to awaken. Flowers opened though it was dusk. Rivers glimmered with amethyst sparkles, and the air grew heavy with the fragrance of unseen blossoms. Yet not all was at peace. From the shadows emerged a figure, muscles rippling beneath fur, eyes burning with golden fire. A wolf. Its body tensed, powerful and raw, every sinew ready to spring. It was the untamed spirit of the wild-made flesh, feared by shepherds and hunters alike, a symbol of danger lurking beyond the safety of the village walls. Its growl rumbled through the air, low and unbroken, vibrating like the storm held within the earth. But Jesus did not flinch. He turned his face toward the wolf, his eyes full of stillness, not of command, not of fear, but of understanding. His gaze did not see a beast or a threat. It saw a creature, fierce and wounded, born from the same breath that brought life to every lamb, every bird, every star. He lifted his hand, slowly, gracefully, as though lifting the very sky. The violet light swelled outward, embracing the space between them, washing over the wolf's bristling form. The growl faltered. The golden fire in its eyes dimmed, replaced by something deeper, an ancient longing, a hunger not for prey but for peace. Its breath came heavy, misting in the cooling air, and its paws pressed forward, one after another, carrying it closer to the man who stood unshaken. The forest stilled further. Deer watched from the thickets. Owls leaned forward on their perches. Even the smallest insects seemed to wait, as if creation itself longed for what was about to unfold. The wolf stopped before him, its chest rising and falling in great heaves. The wild within it, unbroken for ages, trembled under the weight of that violet peace. Slowly, almost unwillingly, its head lowered. The gesture was not of submission to power, but of surrender to love. Jesus extended his hand until it rested upon the wolf's head. His touch was not forceful. It was light as dawn upon the earth, a touch that did not conquer but healed. The violet light deepened, running through his fingers into the wolf's body, filling it with warmth. The beast shuddered, its body trembling as though centuries of fear and violence drained away in a single instant. The wolf's eyes softened. Its ears fell back. It leaned into the hand of the divine, as though it had finally found what it had never dared to seek: rest. Jesus knelt, bringing himself to the wolf's level. His robe spread across the grass, the violet light pooling around him. The wolf lowered itself fully, lying at his feet, its head resting gently upon his robe. It sighed, long and deep, a sound not of menace but of release. The wild and the divine met in harmony. Above them, the sky opened further. Stars burst through the violet canvas, each one glowing with golden fire, forming a crown of eternity. The heavens reflected the earth below. Predator at peace with the source of life, strength united with love. Jesus whispered, his voice low but carrying, as though the trees themselves leaned in to hear. Even the wild knows its maker. Even the untamed hungers for peace. In my presence, nothing is too fierce to be loved, nothing too broken to be healed. The wolf stirred at his words, its tail brushing softly against the earth. It no longer seemed a beast but a brother, clothed in fur and fire, yet welcomed into the same embrace as every lamb and sparrow. Time seemed to dissolve. The clearing was not bound by night or day, but by eternity. The violet light did not fade but grew richer, flowing outward to touch every creature hidden in the forest. Rabbits crept forward from their burrows, foxes slinked closer with cautious steps, and deer walked freely into the open. None feared the wolf. for the wolf itself had been transformed. The disciples, who had followed quietly at a distance, now stepped into the clearing, their hearts pounded, their faces pale with awe. For to them, wolves were enemies, symbols of destruction, robbers of flocks, shadows that haunted shepherds' nights. Yet here was the unthinkable, the wolf at rest, its golden eyes reflecting violet peace. One of them whispered, "Lord, even the wolf bows to you." Jesus turned to them, his hand still upon the resting creature. His eyes shone with violet fire, yet his voice was tender. "Do not call it bowing, for this is not submission to power. This is the healing of what was broken." The wolf was never my enemy. It was my creation, waiting for the day it would remember the voice of love. Fear divides, but love restores. This is not the wolf tamed, it is the wolf made whole. The disciples could not answer. Their silence was heavy with revelation. Jesus rose, and the wolf rose with him. Side by side they stood, the divine and the untamed, cloaked in violet light. The forest sang again, wind rushing through the leaves, birds filling the air with song, the river sparkling like liquid amethyst. In that moment, creation was whole. The wolf circled once, brushing its flank against his robe, then returned to his feet, sitting in quiet companionship. Its golden eyes gazed at him not as master, but as kin, as though it had found the heart of its own origin. The disciples saw and trembled, for they knew this was more than a moment. It was a vision of the kingdom to come, when the lion shall lie with the lamb, when the wild shall walk with the meek, when every shadow shall be filled with light. And above, the heavens bore witness. The crown of stars pulsed brighter, each one singing silently of a peace eternal, a love unbroken, a kingdom where even the fiercest creature finds home. Jesus stood in that violet glow, his hand resting upon the wolf's head, his face radiant with compassion deeper than eternity. In that union of love and wildness, the disciples glimpsed the eternal truth, that no soul is beyond peace, no heart too wild for love, no creature outside the embrace of God. The wolf closed its eyes, content, as though it had finally found rest. And Jesus, the Prince of Peace, stood as the center of the universe, violet light radiating from him like the dawn of eternity. For in that clearing, beneath the crown of stars, heaven and earth touched. The wild bowed not in fear, but in love. The wolf was at peace.